Hello, and welcome to the Book of Vinzer Flinn. I'm your host, Vinzer Flinn, founder of Mandalorian Clan Flinn, intergalactic pirate and bounty hunter, also artist, writer, cosplayer, and an 80s kid Gen Xer that's doing his best. And I'll be talking about life, Star Wars, mental health, and all things geeky in the coming months. The first of which will be a certain show called The Book of some other bounty hunter or something. I'm trying to play it cool, but I am insanely excited for a show about Boba Fett. And me and a few other Flinns are going to talk all about it. Like a lot of aging geeks, I've been waiting, about 40 fucking years to find out what happened to Fett and where we go from there. We're going to have plenty of Star Wars stuff to talk about in the next year or two, and I am stoked. But we'll also be checking out Star Trek, new MCU and DCEU movies and shows, and any other cool stuff that pops up. A special something the Lady of Steelhaven Rain and I are going to do on this podcast is embark on a big journey together. That's right, we're going to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer together for the first time. She's an expert on it, and I've never seen it, probably because that period of my life was a bit of a blur for me. But Raina has never seen Clone Wars, Rebels, or Bad Batch and all that comes with that, so I'll watch Buffy, she'll watch Clone Wars, and then we're going to talk about it. Another thing you'll be subjected to in the Book of Vinzer Flinn is a bit of a captain's log about whatever project I'm working on, whatever's pissed me off or impressed me, or just whatever's got me thinking that week. And a lot of it will be directly connected to talking about mental health. And because I'm a Gen X podhead, expect liberal doses of 80s and 90s nostalgia mixed with a few unfortunately true stories. And as we go along, we're going to have some extra audio clips on Patreon that will almost assuredly be fueled by gratuitous cannabis use. But hey, for $1 a month, you might get a laugh. Okay, I think the Blackjack is once more ready for hyperspace. All systems are go. The droid AI isn't speaking to me, so I guess I'll just... there we go. This section, the Self-Indulgent Captain's Log project, is to talk openly about mental health and helping to tear down the stigma that goes with it. I myself have been dealing with depression and anxiety and PTSD issues a long time now, and the most important thing to remember on those darkest of days is that you're never alone with it, and whatever your asshole brain tries to convince you of otherwise. People care about what happens to you. But it's hard to talk about, so we're going to keep on fighting to keep the conversation with ourselves going, because there's no weakness in talking out your shit. That makes you stronger. I've been very lucky because I have a great family and friend support system who always have each other's backs. I don't know how we would have gotten through the last year or two without each other. Treasure your friends, man. I took an extended break from making podcast stuff, some of which was legitimately needing a break from my workload, but also largely in part due to self-doubt and constant negative thinking about myself and anything I created. Who cares, I thought, no one likes this shit, why bother? For starters, that's shit thinking, and if you're making something to find validation through the approval of others, you're going to be chasing that particular carrot for fucking ever, and the letdowns will always dwarf the wins. And there's no win too small. The point of doing a thing is because it fulfills you and you enjoy it and you're doing it for you. But maybe others will dig it too, so why the hell not, right? Bottom line, if what you're doing isn't hurting anyone, do the fuck out of it. Draw the drawing, write the story, make the cosplay, or record a podcast. Steve-O once said, I'd rather regret something I did do than something I didn't do. And while I don't recommend dodging balls of fire or blasting rockets out of your ass, he's 100% right. So go do the thing and enjoy every second of it. Okay, so the main course of this rambling episode 0 is to talk about some predictions for the Book of Boba Fett, and all the wishful thinking to go along with it. The trailers were great, didn't give us too much, and I'm betting a lot of that was in the first episode. Fett, with the help of Fennec Shand, are building an underworld empire based on respect instead of fear, or so it seems. Funnily enough, I don't have any big predictions for this story, definitely not since Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 1 kicked us all straight in the side of the head with any expectations. And speaking as someone with a Grogu stuffy, we're okay with it. So most of my predictions are really just me gushing about possible characters we might see, so let's see if I look very clever or hopelessly off base in a few weeks. Number 1. I think there's almost certainly going to be a connection to Omega from the Bad Batch in this show somewhere. For those who haven't seen that show, she is Boba Fett's sister, the Omega to his Alpha, and the only other untampered with clone. She'd be the same age as Boba, and it seems inevitable to me that these two will meet. There's a connection with Fennec and Omega from the Bad Batch, too. I think it's also possible Omega and Boba may have already met, and she may have been integral in Boba's recovery in the aftermath of the Sarlacc pit. This explains to me why Fett went out and saved Fennec in Season 1 of The Mandalorian, not because he happened to be there and saved her for the hell of it. Why would Fett go to the trouble of having cybernetic parts installed to save Fennec's life? Why would he have even been out there finding her randomly in the desert in the first place? He went to look for her. Fennec says she owes her life to Boba, but I don't think he did it just to bring her into his service. Doesn't really seem his style, does it? No, I think Fennec is important to Omega, and so by extension Boba. The way Boba idolized his father Jango, I think once he was sure Omega was telling the truth about who she was, Boba would accept her as his real family wholeheartedly. Connecting to this first theory, maybe we'll even see an older member of the Bad Batch in a brief appearance, probably Hunter, who is Omega's father figure. I mean, we got Tamira Morrison right there, right? A little makeup and you got Hunter. I also think if we do see Omega, she'll be flying the Marauder, the squad's ship from Bad Batch, which would be exciting in its own right to see that live action. Keep your eyes out for that ship in this season. Secondly, I think the show is a great chance for some one-episode cameos, and the first on my list seems to be supported by a little Easter egg in one of the Fett trailers. And this unlikely team-up being Fett and Chewbacca. Imagine the old fans, like me, getting to see those two on screen again after the events of Empire Strikes Back. Chewie wanting to kick Fett's ass for his part in Han Solo's capture, and Fett saying it was all just business, and anyway, I ended up in a Sarlacc pit, so get over it. The young fellow playing Chewbacca now is a delight, and I think they need to use him in this show. He's pretty great. And because we're definitely going back to Tatooine for this show, maybe we'll see Cobb Vanth in there somewhere. If not, hopefully Mandalorian Season 3, because I think we all really enjoyed his character. As for Din Djarin himself, maybe see him once, but I kind of doubt it. Maybe he'll be at a minimum referenced once, give maybe just a quick throwaway line to lead into Mandalorian Season 3 somehow. Now, I don't think we'll see anything at all of Ahsoka Ezra Thrawn. I think they'll keep all that for that show separately. And as much as I'd love to see anything with live-action Sabine Wren in it, I think they'll save her for Ahsoka and hopefully Mandalorian Season 3 as well. And since this is going to be an underworld show, as we saw in the trailer, I think we can expect a lot more of organizations like the Black Sun, the Crimson Dawn, and very likely some Hutts. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing how the other Hutts react to Fett taking over Jabba's old empire. What was the state of Jabba's empire 5 years later? They seem to be okay with Bib Fortuna on that throne for 5 years running things, so maybe as long as the money's coming in, they're happy. Now that the live-action shows have migrated over some old canon characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn, there's precedent for someone like Prince Shizor to show up. In old canon, he's in charge of the Black Sun criminal syndicate, and he'd be a brilliant character to tap into at this point in the Star Wars timeline. Anyone that's played Shadows of the Empire Nintendo 64 knows what I'm talking about. And if there's going to be Crimson Dawn in this, why not a Kira appearance, older and more secure in her role as ruler of the underworld? Thirdly, I think we're almost for sure going to see some old classic Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters like Bosk, especially in light of seeing Trandoshans in the trailer. Trandoshans, like Rhodians, are well known for being hunters, the Trandos basing their religion around a scorekeeper god. And if they continue to tap a little of that old canon, the Corellian bounty hunter Dengar was instrumental in helping Fett after he escaped the Sarlacc, although it's more and more looking like the Sand People were involved there somehow. Which leaves Zuckuss, the weird, buggy-looking Gand hunter that breathes ammonia, and his droid partner Forlom, that evil-looking black-painted protocol droid. They're just too weird and unique not to have a guest shot somewhere in all this. The last on that particular list would be the IG-88 assassin droid. In Old Legends canon, there were several of them, and they were destroyed one by one. This is the only one I don't think we'll see in the series right away, at least because of IG-11 in Mando Season 1. We loved the character voiced by Taika Waititi, who my girlfriend and I fucking love. So now we all associate that sort of droid with IG-11, sort of a heroic character in the end. So I don't feel like an IG-88 would really hit right for the show, at least not at the start. One last character appearance prediction, and you know you want it. Live-action Cad Bane. Let's do it. Number 4, as long as I'm reaching here for cameos, why not Dr. Aphra from the Darth Vader Marvel comics? I didn't read too many of the new comics, which are all supposed to be new canon, but this original character of a sort of mercenary archaeologist accompanied by some murder droids got a lot of well-deserved attention. Number 5. Okay, character wishful thinking, and again, the precedent of migrating over a character like Thrawn has me hoping against hope that they tap the same well as created by Timothy Zahn and introduce the character of Mara Jade. Like many an aging Gen X Star Wars fan, I love me some Mara Jade. The essence of her character was that of a Force-using agent called the Emperor's Hand, working directly for Palpatine, doing assassinations and the like. Some stories even had her going undercover as a dancer in Jabba's palace when Luke rescued everyone in Return of the Jedi. After the Emperor's death, Mara ended up working in the underworld with a smuggler called Talon Card, who they should also definitely bring into things. The dead Emperor still held sway over Mara, compelling her to try to kill Luke Skywalker. You should definitely read the trilogy for that particular story, even though it's old canon, it is still very much worth reading. But in the end, she does regain her freedom, and later on she marries Luke Skywalker. She helps rebuild the Jedi Order, and eventually is the mother of Ben Skywalker. Obviously, if Mara were introduced, all that probably goes right out the window. Or does it? Does Mara help with Luke's temple? Did somehow losing her contribute to his disappearance all those years? But the essence of her character, as a former Imperial assassin that can use the Force, would be perfect for this window of Star Wars timeline, and I can't think of a better chance to start her journey officially. One of the best things about Mara is that she took shit from nobody, and she had the lightsaber and blaster skills to back it up. She was like a super spy Force user. Sort of a gray Jedi that always called Luke farm boy. I think she'd be another amazingly strong female character to add to the Star Wars universe officially. Cue the toxic fans hating on her. I quote the great Cryus Flinn, who we will see in future podcasts. Fuck the haters. And finally, number 6. The one thing I am sure we are going to get, although probably in tantalizing little bits, is the big answers. Some that we've been waiting for decades. How did Fett get out of the Sarlacc pit? Who helped him? Because the Jawas definitely didn't when they stripped his armor. How did he survive, and what's he been doing for the last 5 years? Does he have a connection to the Sand People because of the robe and the weapons he had on him, or did he kill them to get those? And a question that I bet will get addressed, if not answered in a way that gives any closure, is Boba Fett Mandalorian going by the traditional criteria? Fans have been debating the hell out of this one for years, and frankly, I kind of hope they leave it a little bit vague. I sort of imagine Fett's response to it would be something similar to Harrison Ford's question about who shot first. Who gives a shit? I imagine any answer we get will still be hotly debated, but I look forward to seeing what they give us. So in keeping with the theme of intergalactic bounty hunting, as the Flinns know, I never shut up about the old Star Wars Galaxies game. The old MMO that ran from 2003 to 2010, I think it was. That's where I first created the character of Vinzer Flinn, and after years of catching literally hundreds of bounties, there were a few memorable ones. I spent most of my time as the bounty hunter class, but now and then I would change over to the spy class, which would allow me to ninja around and really hassle the Imperials in PvP, so this would start creeping my own bounty higher and higher. We had safe houses in our player city, a place called Red Rock on the outer rim planet of Locke, which the hardcore Star Wars fans will know is Nim the Pirate's planet. So once the hunters started looking for me, I'd lead them on a little chase, usually ended up with me safely in my locked house getting liquored while they flailed around outside trying to get me to come out. Often our pirate guild would just call another hunter and get them to drop by and clear your bounty and make a few credits. The main thing was you couldn't let another bounty hunter catch you. It was like a loss of face, and they'd give you shit about it next time they saw you at the cantina. And given the egos on most of these dickheads, you didn't much want to give them the satisfaction. So leaving the house with a big bounty was a big risk when it got higher and higher. But now and then a hunter would come along you've never heard of, and you'd let them catch you, clear the bounty, no loss of face. And the new hunter leaves feeling pretty good, made some money. So there I am one day, chilling out, and this little Rhodian guy shows up. Looks like Greedo. He's poking around outside. He's barely leveled enough to even get a player bounty, much less geared up to catch a serious one. It's this guy's lucky day, I thought. I told him I'd come out and he can collect the bounty. I step out, and I uncloak, and I'm like, okay, man, do it. And he stands there, holding his gun. He's trembling in his boots. "You're gonna kill me, aren't you?" he cries. In my head, I was like, well, yeah, I could disassemble you rather handily, my good man, but no, please do take this bounty before one of these other shitheads show up. Anyway, he kills me, he leaves with like 1,000,000 credits in his pocket, and I was free to begin sniping Imperials the galaxy over again. I never saw the reluctant Rodian again. No doubt his second bounty splattered him all over Mos Eisley and he gave it up. Anyway, it was never long before I respec'd back to Bounty Hunter and got back on the job, so I'll share a few more memorable stories in future episodes. Okay, one last little fun thing for this introductory episode. My buddy Weewick, a Mon Calamari trader I've known for many years, went to Dragon Con a ways back, and he said Tamir Morrison's going to be there. I think this was shortly after Attack of the Clones came out. And he said, Vinzer, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to get Django to say hello to you. And I was like, okay, Weewick, sure, buddy. Good luck. And then sure enough, he comes back the following Monday with this.
Kia ora, Vinzer Flinn. Greetings, salutations from Temuera Morrison, Django Fett.
So yeah, I was pretty fucking gobsmacked. That right there is just another reason me and the Flinns are so stoked for this show. Tamir Morrison seems like a really fun guy. He doesn't use Twitter very much, it seems, but Ming-Na Wen does, and she is a great follow. Also, Rosario Dawson, while I'm on the subject, they clearly love playing the characters. I think Fennec and Mr. Fett are going to be a kick-ass partnership. I am excited, can you tell? Okay, how about all the social media crap that comes with this sort of thing? You can email me at captainflynn@gmail.com with questions, answers, or random rants, and if I like it, I'll read it out on following episodes. I'm on all the usual soul-sucking media too, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just look for Vinzer Flynn, you'll find me. The music you hear in this episode is a sample from a guy on YouTube called Niall Stenson, and he makes amazing music, and the link to his stuff will be in all the info of every episode, so check that out. I will definitely be sharing more of his work. His video game and Marvel movie stuff blows my mind. You've almost certainly got a favorite theme song he's done on there, so check him out. That's it for today. Thanks for hanging out, and we will talk again in a couple of weeks as the Book of Boba Fett kicks off. Whatever the hell you celebrate, have a good one. This is Vinzer Flynn, the other Mandalorian, signing off.